So we're going to jump into the recovery quote of the day, and it goes like this: never do for others what they can and should do for themselves. I'm going to say that again because it's so powerful. You should never do for others what they can and should do for themselves. Now, here's what we have. And we have personalities out there who they're just so filled with love, right? They just care so much, and they're just so extremely empathetic, and they put themselves in other people's shoes, and they fall into the identity of a rescuer and a savior. And you can ask me how I know this, because I have one of those personalities. And we think that we're doing something good. We think that we're walking in love, and we think that we're actually benefiting the other person in some way or fashion. But the reality is that it's a form of codependency. And that is, for us to feel good about ourselves, we have to play the role of the savior. And therefore, it makes us feel good. It feeds our pride. It feeds our ego. It makes us think well of ourselves by helping other people. But the reality is that this quote is so powerful that we shouldn't do for others what they can and should do for themselves. And when we do, a lot of detrimental and a lot of dysfunction begins to happen. And think about it this way, that if you're paying bills for an addict, you are stepping in and you are enabling them to continue in their state and condition, and you are actually participating in their dysfunction, because the reality is the addict should pay for their own bills. And we do this in so many ways and fashion, and we don't really recognize the harm and the detriment that we are really causing. So my challenge today is to look at that. Look at yourself. Are you doing for others what they can and should do for themselves? Are you practicing this enabling behavior that causes people to stay crippled? Now, I had a very positive experience when I was young, helping the homeless and providing meals and stuff like that. And I had this one situation where I provided a homeless man some socks. And he begged me to take them back and to give him the money because he didn't need socks, he needed the money. And his feet were just like all nasty, and that's what drew my compassion. I'm like, you got to take care of your feet, right? But the reality is that I cared more about his feet than he did. And that is, his feet were in that state and condition because he allowed his feet to be in that state and condition. And so me coming on the scene and having cared about his feet more than him didn't really help the situation. And so we do this in so many different ways, and we want to care for people. We want to love people. But the reality is that when we care and we love more than they do, then it's going to lead to a lot of frustration and a lot of disappointment. The best thing that we can do is to begin to help them care about their feet. Equip them with the talent, skills, and resources to care for their feet. Now, this is just an analogy, but you get what I'm saying. And that is, when they begin to have a desire to care for their feet, then they'll begin to manifest the behaviors will follow. But us stepping in and being the savior and the rescuer hardly does any good.